That's a sexy tree. Look how sexy that tree is. Ooh, that's a pretty tree. Pretty tree. Pretty, pretty, pretty tree. Look at this beautiful Kentia palm growing where no Kentia palms are supposed to grow. Oh, look, there's another one right there. So I'm in my garden up here in Lafayette. I know I have some Kentia palm videos already, but I figure that there just cannot be enough because this is probably the prettiest tree I think you can grow in Northern California. At least the most elegantly beautiful tree, I believe. So I planted a grove of Kentias here. I had to have them. I'm in Lafayette. You see it's oak woodland habitat way up on this hill. I got all kinds of exotic plants. But the thing is, though, it gets cold here. We get frost, freezing temperatures. And so you're saying, well, wait a minute, Gary. You know, Kentias are really cold tender. So how are you getting away with that? Well, that's why I'm making the video to tell you guys. So my most prized one of all is this one right here that has this just unbelievable blade size. Look at how wide the blade is on that tree. It's just striking. This is about as wide as they come. So this one has just an unbelievable appearance to it. And the very astute viewers will say, well, why'd you cut the tips off, Gary? Palms look stupid with their tips cut off. Well, I had a guy working for me who was doing his best, and I just didn't train him quite well enough. And he's like, hey, I trimmed everything up off the path. It looks great now. And I'm like, oh, no, that's going to take years to grow out. These things only get like 3 or 4 fronds a year. These fronds are really old. Like there's another one he cut. So such a bummer. But no, they should be like this. The ends should be like that. Nice and beautiful. I would just never recommend cutting a Kentia palm frond tip. So they should just look just like that. And not like that. Anyway, whatever. It'll grow back. But I have a few more down here. There's one down there. Cute little guy. And there's one here. So, why are they doing so well here in this frosty, cold environment? And there's actually one more up there, and we'll go look at that one, a little one. It's because I planted them underneath Quercus agrifolia, the coastal live oak. When I first moved here, I climbed way up in this tree and kind of hollowed out the canopy. And I'm not sure if I want to go up there again. But anyway, I haven't had to yet. There's a couple other trees over here. But they provide just enough cover so the frost just doesn't come down here. These trees underneath these palms, these Kentia palms underneath the big oak have never been damaged, not once. And we've had cold temperatures here. I tried to grow some Kentias in a couple open places, and they eventually died, but in some really cold freezes. But you can see what the Kentia does. It makes this wonderful green ringed trunk, which is so spectacular. And it'll stay green like this if the plant itself is in the shade or partial shade. If you put it out in the sunshine, that will turn to a gray, kind of like the bottom of the trunk right there. But what's noteworthy about this particular plant here is when I planted it, I wanted one right here, and I knew that the oak canopy was, a little bit on the edge of the tree. And so guess what happened? I'm not kidding. Almost every single year, guess what happened to this plant? And there's the oak, it's finally growing out. So, but it's still open to the sky. Look, it's open to the sky right there, right? This is the one frond that is open to the open sky. And an amazing thing happens when plants are open to the sky in the winter in frosty locations that are tender. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? This is probably the least amount of damage I've had on this plant because the canopy keeps extending out. But because of this hole in the canopy right here, the frost comes down and hits this plant and it damages it. And you can see there's a little frost burn right there. And it's because directly above, look, there's a hole in the canopy right there. So it's amazing. In a freeze in 1990, the worst freeze ever in California's history, I had a giant jade plant, and this jade plant was underneath a deck, except it was only half under the deck. Kind of in a situation like we have here. We have a solid material above us here. And imagine you were the jade plant and you were right here. Okay, and a huge freeze came that got down to like 18, 19 degrees. And you, half your body was on, can you see that? That side. And the other half was on this side down on the ground. Well, this jade plant was literally cut in half. Cut right in half. Basically, it was completely dead on one side, and then it was completely fine on the other side. And and the space in between was maybe like an inch, where there was half alive and half dead. And then outside that zone, it was either perfect or it was completely dead. It was melted. I couldn't believe it. So I still, it's really hard for me to believe that inches matter in this game of frost protection, but they really do. And that, of course, gets exhibited on this Kentia palm right here. Everybody wants to grow the Kentia, but not many people live in the Kentia country, which is Berkeley and Tiburon and San Francisco and places like that, like especially Alameda, wonderful climate for a Kentia. But anyone can grow a Kentia palm if you can just keep the tree under canopy. You see, we do have some holes in the canopy here, but they're not substantial enough to allow enough frost to come down and hurt this plant. As you can see, it's absolutely perfect. So if you want a Kentia palm, you live outside the zone. You're in zone 15, 14, 8, 9, places like that. Maybe even zone 16, they do pretty well. They can frost burn. 17, they're pretty good. But in zone 16, climate zone 16, and colder, if you want to be safe, put your Kentia underneath, something that's going to prohibit the openness of the winter sky being above it. And the more solid the roof or the canopy, the better off you are. And that, my friends, is how you grow yourself a beautiful Kentia that makes such a wonderful noise in the breeze.